All right, so this is a video of the compound lift called the deadlift. And as mentioned in other instructional videos, it's called a compound exercise due to the vast number of muscle groups which are activated throughout the lift. And some of these muscles are the glutes, the quadriceps, the adductors, the hamstrings, the lats and the upper back, the arms, the erectors, and the trapezius and abdominals. So it's a fantastic all-round lift. So essentially, to prepare for this lift, similarly to the to the squat, you want to take your shoes off because you don't want the shoes altering this lift in any way. And as per the other major lifts, I usually warm up with a couple of sets of my 60% of my heaviest weight and half the number of the repetitions of my heaviest set. And as mentioned, the key is to the warm up is to not tire yourself out, but just to warm up the muscles and get them ready to do the exercise in its fullest. So let's get started on the video. The first part of the video is essentially the setup of how you should stand to grip the bar. So let's go through that. So essentially what you want to do here is you want to shuffle your feet below the bar so that the bar is directly above the big knuckles of your big toes. So I will just show you this with an angle. That bar is lined up directly above I'll just pause it there, above my big toe knuckles. And so essentially what I'm doing here is I'm straightening my arms dead straight before I go down to grip the bar. That's a really important part of this exercise, is making sure that your arms are straight. You don't want the deadlift weight being taken in any of your bicep muscles, because that often can result in a bicep tear. So you want to straighten out your arms before you go down to grip the bar. Check the markings on the bar just to make sure that you are standing, the bar is evenly in your stance. Often the bars have markings. Just make sure this is the case. Otherwise, have a visual check of the distance between the outer feet and the actual weight itself, and just make sure that looks even. So now you should be ready to grip the bar, and we'll recommence the video here. So you'll see here I have a mixed grip, and I'll just pause again this video. That means one grip, one hand is going forward and one hand is going back. I like to grip the bar. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm just looking down at the bar, and I am just checking to make sure that my grip is also evenly on the bar, and I'm not favoring one particular side. So let's recommence the video at this point. So your shoulders are there. I'll just add to this actually before we recommence, is my shoulders and arms should form a straight line to the bar. My shoulders should be directly over this bar, and my arms forming a straight line down to the bar. So when I stand up, that bar is going to go directly up and down. There's going to be no movement back or forward with that bar. So let's now, in terms of my eyes, I'm just basically casting those eyes at a 40-degree angle down to the ground in front of me. I don't want to lift them straight up at 90 degrees. A lot of people do that, but yeah, cast your eyes at a 45-degree angle down to the ground, and that way your neck isn't taking any of the pressure. The neck and the back should be straight throughout this lift. And obviously my back here is absolutely straight. I don't want to be taking any of that weight in my lower back, which can cause injury, particularly if that back bends. So it's critical to have a straight back. Yeah, and just when you're doing this lift, make sure you don't lift your head to check yourself in the mirror. Keep your eyes cast downwards, because again that can put pressure on your back, on your neck. So the first part of this lift really just involves, you should be just rolling slightly onto your heels before you actually lift the bar up, and just you should feel a slight pressure in your heels just to get ready for the lift. So just roll back gently on those heels, and then once you've got your roll back, the first part of this lift is really engaging the lats. And you do this by starting the lift with the shoulders first, and in getting some good solid lat engagement. Now you should feel your lats flex and form a V underneath your arms. That's the movement which engages the lats, or the feeling which engages the lats. And you do this by just pulling the bar with your shoulders upwards and feeling that engagement by the lats taking the weight of the bar first before you actually stand up. So it's essential to feel that, and that also keeps your back in a straight position by having those lats engaged throughout the lift. So getting them engaged before you stand up is really important. So once this is done, you can start the lift by pulling. You can now stand up essentially. So let's go through that. So stand up with the back remaining straight throughout the lift. The lat engagement should remain throughout the whole lift. And this way the weight of the bar is evenly distributed through the whole back, and not to the lower spine, which is a core, which causes injury. Bar should go up in a straight line, and when you're standing up straight, essentially at the top of the lift, the bar, you don't want to pull your shoulders back at all. And then in terms of lowering the bar, lower, just simply do the reverse of picking it up and standing up, is you lower it by bending your knees and keeping those arms straight and lowering the bar and guiding it back towards the ground. It's not as important as the lift itself, the lowering, but it is important to keep the bar in control.